Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the next video in the Excel automation scenario series. In this series, we are looking at the real-time scenarios that we might encounter during the Excel automation with UiPath Studio. Prior to this video, we have a playlist in which we are saying how do we refresh multiple pivots, how do we invoke the code, how do we get the dynamic cell, how do we split the CSV, what is the difference between invoke code and invoke VBA, how can we write the loop, how can we delete multiple sheets. All of this is available as a playlist. I'll put the link in the description and you can refer that. Also, I have one more playlist where I am explaining each and every activity which the UiPath Studio is having for the Excel automation. So you can refer that also. Having said that, let's see the agenda for this video. In this video, we are going to see what are the different type of joins which are available in UiPath Studio. Here we are going to see the inner join with the help of the example. The next join which we are explaining is the left join. And at the end we are going to see how a full join works with the help of example. We will try to see each and every join with the help of an example and how can we utilize the same with the help of Excel. Let us start the video by understanding the different type of joins which are available in UiPath Studio. We will look at the different type of joins with the help of an example. So assuming that I have two data sets, dataset 1 and dataset 2. So dataset 1 is having the elements like 100 to 800 and dataset 2 is having the random elements like 300, 500, 800 till 1800. Now we will see how does the join look like when we have the data something like this, right? So to start with, we have three type of joins which are available in UiPath Studio. The first one is called the inner join. So if you will see the definition for the inner join available in the docs.uipath.com, it says that when we apply inner join to the two data sets, keep all the rows from D1 and D2, where D1 and D2 are the data sets which meets the join rule. So what does this mean, join rule? Join rule means inner join. So inner join means that we will have only the records which are common in both the data sets. Any row that do not match the rules are removed from the resulting table. So what does that mean? So for example, if I just talk in the Venn diagram, so if this is the data set 1 and this is the data set 2, when we apply inner join, so only the elements which are common will be available in the final results. How does it look like? So if you remember, I have this data set. So if you will see, only the 300, 500 and 800 are common in both the data sets. So when we apply inner join to this set of data, the final output will be something like this. So we will have only 300, 500 and 800 because these are the common. So this is as simple as that. Whenever you have something in common between both the data set and you want to retrieve that, we use the inner join. So for example, you can use this when you have two different set of Excel 1 is having some data, Excel 2 is having some data, and you want the common between the two, then we apply the inner join. Okay, so I hope you understand the inner join. The next join I want to talk about is the left join. So what does left join mean? So if you'll read the definition, it says that keep all the rows from D1 and only the value from D2, which means meet the join rule. So what will happen? So if I talk about the Venn diagram, so left join means it will give priority to the data set which is available on the left. So for example, in our example, we have the data available on the left. So we will retain all the values which are available on the left and only those values which are available in the right side and are common. So if you'll see the Venn diagram, all the values in the left plus the values which are common to both the data set, and null values are inserted into the columns for the rows that do not match the criteria. Okay, so if I show you the data set, now these were the data. So now what will be these are the common. So if you remember, the common is only 300, 500, 800 that are definitely going to return because this part is highlighted, and everything from the data set 1, right? So how does it looks like? So the final output will have 300 to 700, that is the entire. So basically this is not 300 to 700, this is this entire data. So when we apply the left join, the common ones are provided at the top view. So if you'll see, 300, 500, 800 are the common one, and then 1 to 100, 200, 400, 600, 700, basically this entire data set is available plus with the records which are common to both the data sets. So this is how we represent the left join in UiPath Studio. The last join which is available is called the full join. If I go by the definition, it says keep all the rows from D1 and D2 regardless of whether join condition is met, right? So we want to have all the data from both the data sets. Null values are added wherever the rows are empty, right? So we will see this in a real-time example when we will work with the UiPath Studio. Okay, so this is how the Venn diagrams look like for the full join. And if I talk about the data set, this will be the data availables, right? So all the rows which are highlighted in green will be available in the final data sets. So when we apply the final data set, this is how the data will be represented. We will get all the data from the both the tables. Wherever it is common, the common will be highlighted, but wherever the data is not common, it will be inserted by null. So this is how the full join, left join and inner join looks like in UiPath Studio. Now let us see how does this join look and how can we use them with the help of Excel in UiPath Studio. I am in my UiPath Studio. To start the automation, I have kept a file, Excel file, which is called the sample Excel file.xls. This is available in the project location. If I go to the Excel, in the Excel I have two sheets. One is called the data one and the other sheet is called the data two. These two sheets are available in the same Excel. In the real world automation, these two sheets can be from a different Excel or a different data source as well. So if you will see, these are the same number which we have demonstrated in the presentation, right? So I have data 1 which is having 100 to 800, and then I have something called data 2 which is having 300, 500, 800 common, and plus with some extra data which is not available in the data 1, and some extra data for each of the sheets, data 1 and data 2. Now let us see how does the join actually works and how can we utilize the same with the help of Excel. So I go back to my UiPath Studio. I will go to the design tab and I'll take a new sequence which I call joins in UiPath. Okay, and hit create. Right, so the first thing is I have to read the Excel. So to read the Excel, what activity I can choose? I can either take the Excel application scope or directly I can take the read range. This will allow me to directly use the workbook activity. So this is available in the Excel, and sample Excel file is the one which we are demonstrating, right? So I will just verify, yes, sample Excel file.xls. Let me take this open, and the first sheet I want to read is data 1, right? And what we want to read? We want to read the complete data. Now what exactly we will return? It will return me a data table. I will hit Control plus K and I will write dt underscore data 1, right? So that way we are sure that which is, and my data is having header, so this header checkbox is also checked. Save everything. Let me copy this and paste it once again. Now the next I want to read the same sheet for the sheet data 2, and the data table now will be dt underscore data 2. So I will hit Control plus K, dt underscore data 2. So this will create two variables for me. If I go to the variables, I have two data tables, data table 1 and data table 2 available. Now in this video we are looking at the different type of joins. So if I go to the activity and type here join, right, so we will see one activity which is called the join data table inside the data table. I will drag and drop it here. So now if you will see, this joint data table wizard expects two data table and it gives then output in the form of data table. So in the real world automation, these two sources can be anything. This can be a web scrape data, a different Excel sheet, or anything which is providing the data in the form of a tabular structure. We can use the same with the joint data table. Now let us see what are the options we have with the joint data table. If I go and click on this join wizard, we are selected with this option. So these are self-explanatory. The input data table 1, so for me it's dt underscore data 1. Next, dt underscore data 2, and where I want to store the output, right? So I will create one more variable called dt underscore output. All right, and next it will ask me what is the column you want to apply the filter, right? And what is the column? Basically the condition. So if I go here, so before the column, right, what is the joint type you want to have? So I have presented with a three option: inner, left and full. So these are the three which we demonstrated in the presentation. If you are not sure, you can just rewind the PPT and you can get what exactly the one these three are, right? So we are definitely going to see in this example. Let me first select the inner, and what is the column? So both the data tables are having the header column checked. So the first, in the first data table, the ID is ID, and where the second it is also id. So this is basically on which column you want to match the data, right? So this would be the id, and for the data 2 it's also id. Let me go back to my UiPath Studio and I will specify here id, and I will specify also here id, and I will specify equal to here. So that means, so now what I'm telling UiPath, you do a inner join between data table 1 and data table 2, and whatever output you get, you store that output in dt underscore output. I will hit OK. Now UiPath will say I have applied inner join on these two data set and dt output is available. What do you want me to do next, right? So I will instruct UiPath to write the data again back to the same Excel, right? So I will just write the data to the same Excel, and I will just change the sheet name to inner linear inner, and now it will ask me what is the data table type. So I will type dt underscore output. Okay, and I will paste it in d1. When I am pasting the data, I want the add headers to be checked, so I will click this header. That will add the header for me. Save everything. Since we are using the workbook activity, so I do not have the inner sheet available, right? So it will, UiPath will create that for me. Since we are using the workbook activity, I have to close this Excel. Let us go back to UiPath Studio and run the file. Now the expectation is it should create a file for inner with the data which we want, right? Let us go back to the Excel. This is the Excel, and we have one more sheet of data which is called the inner. Let me go to the sheet and let me just maximize the font here. Okay, I will go here and make it to 22, right? So this is the set of data which is a result of the inner join. So if you will see, we have only got the results which were common across both the data rows. So 300, 800 and 500 were common. So this data is from the first data, uh, data 1. From the data 2 we have got 300, 500, 800, and the months will be June, December and March. We can verify here it's June, December and March, this record, and it has added a temporary id called id underscore ones, because this id and this id were similar, that's why, right? And so that's why, that's how we can use the inner join. Now in the real-time automation, I can use this result. We can use the filter data table activity and do the rest of the processing. So this is how the inner join works with data table, and this is the same thing which we have demonstrated in the presentation as well. Okay, now let us go back to UiPath Studio. Okay, so now what I will do is I will copy this both blocks and paste it again. Now what I wanted to do is, instead of the inner join, I want to have a left join, and the output I want to store in a new variable called dt underscore left. Okay, and this will be, let this be same. Okay, and in the sheet name where I want to write the data, let us name it to left, so we remember that it is a left join, and the data table will be dt underscore left. Okay, let us save everything. Again we have to go here and close the Excel. I will save the changes. Let me go here and run the file. Now we have made some of the changes to the code. Now one more sheet will be created with the left, right? And it would have applied the left join because we have specified left here on both the data tables. Let me go back to the Excel, open it. Okay, and we are presented with a new set of data which is called the left. Okay, let me go here and increase the size a little bit to, let's say, 22, and expand the columns, right? So what we are presented, since we have applied the left join, all the data from the data 1 is available, that was 100 to 800, and plus with the data which was common across the both the data. So if you will see, the common data was only 300, 500 and 800. So if you will remember, in the inner join we have received only the common ones. In the left join we will receive everything from the left table plus the data which is common, right? So this is how the left join work. All the data from the first table, that is the left, plus the data which is common. So this is how the left join will work. And if you will see, it has just moved the columns which are common at the top, so that's why it is better to read, right? So now we can apply the data filtering, remove data rows, add data rows, and we can use this result in the further part of the automation. right? Now the question arises, what if I want to have a right join? So if you are from a SQL background, you might think that there is something called a join called a right join also, right? So how can we apply that in UiPath Studio, right? So for that we don't have to do anything, we just have to flip the data. So if you will just apply the data table 2 at the top and data table 1 at the bottom, so that will act same like a right join, where it will give preference to the data table data 2, right? So you can just always flip this data and check it. So let me go here and cut it, and I will paste it here. Now let me type here data 1 left join, and this data table, let us call it dt underscore right. Okay, save everything, and instead of the dt underscore left, now I want to store it in dt underscore right, and the sheet name will be right. Save everything. I will save this guy, close this, and run the file. Now we have applied a kind of right join with the help of left expression. Let us go back to the output. Now we have one more sheet presented as right. Let us go ahead and change the size to 22 so it's visible. And if I just open it, you will see now we have all the data from the second data 2, that was 3245 up to 54, and the data which was common across both. So if I go to the right, so this is the data which is presented by UiPath Studio, right? So this is the data from the first, and these are the common which from the first table. So this is how we use the right and the left switching just by the data table in the join wizard. Now that we have seen the left, inner, and the kind of right join, let us see how does a full join looks like. So I will go back to my UiPath Studio. Let me again copy these two activities and paste it at the bottom. Right, so in the join wizard, now I will select the outer, that is the full join, right, and the ID, this will be same, and I will create a new data table called dt underscore full join. Now let us see what is the result of the full join, and this data is available in dt full. Let me just flip this guys. So data table 1 and data table 2, hit OK, and we want to write the data in the sheet called full, so it will create a new sheet called full, and the data table will be now dt underscore full. Okay, save everything. Let me go back to the Excel. Since we don't have the full Excel here, I will close this, save everything. Now if I go ahead and run the file, the expectation is it should create a sheet called full in the same Excel. The bot is executing and completed. Let us go back to the file, open the file, and now we would have a sheet called full join, so that will hold the result of the full join. Now if I go to the full join, so now what will happen, it will consist of all the records. So let me just make it readable. Okay, so now what is full join? So in the full join, we will have all the records from both the table, right? So we have all the records, that is 100 to 800 from both the tables. Wherever there was common, the common data will be available here, and wherever the common data was not available, the bot will put null, right? So that is what it meant when in the slide it meant that wherever the data is not matching, it will put null. And if you will see, it has all the records from the table this data 2 as well, and the non-matching records that were 1000 to these guys, these are available at the bottom, right, because these are not matching, and this side of the data is now null, right? So this is how the full join looks like. Now that we have seen the inner, left, right, and the full join, let us see what other options I have available for the join data table. I go back to the UiPath Studio. Now let me just copy and paste these two blocks at the bottom, right? And if you will see in the join wizard, apart from the equal to operator, we also have this other operator, that is less than equal to, greater than equal to. So we can play around this and we can use it according as per our need. So let us try with one thing. So let me go ahead and select the inner join, and I want to write a condition where the ID of the data table 1 is less than the ID of data table 2, and I want to store the data in a new data table called, let's say, control K dt underscore new dt. Okay, hit OK, and I want to write this in a new sheet called new dt, and the data table will be now dt underscore new dt. So now let us see how does this operator work. So I have selected where the id in the data table 1 should be less than the id, and I want to have a inner join. I will click OK, hit save. I will go here, we don't have the new dt here. Let me close this file, save everything. Let me go here and run the file. Okay, so the bot is executing. It has successfully completed the execution. Let me go back to the folder and open the file. Okay, and we are expecting a sheet called new dt, which would have the data table 1 less than the data table 2. Okay, so we have received this many data. Why? Let us try to analyze that one. Okay, I'll just maximize it to 22. Okay, so I have received the data, this data. So we have, if you'll see, we have the data for 100 to 800 in the first data table, and 300 to 800 1800 in this table. So we have specified the condition that the first dt id should be less than. So what it would have done, it would have compared this guy with data table 2. If it is matching, then it would have printed, else it would have not printed. So if we'll analyze the new data table output, you will see we have received all the records for 100, right? So if you will just, if let me just highlight. Okay, so 100 is less than 300. Okay, 100 is less than 500. Okay, 100 is less than 1800. Okay, right? So if you will see, I have 8 rows here. So 100 is less than each and every record. So we would have received how many records? 100 record, this 100 8 times, 200 8 times, this 8 times, then this, then this, then this. But what would have happened when 800 would have come, right? So let us go here and see the new dt. So 100, it is there. 200 was also less than, so we have received this record. When it came to 300, see, for the 300, I will just highlight the 300 guys here. Okay, so 300 is less than 500. So for 300 we have only received one. Let me highlight it like this. 1 2 3 4 5 6, only 7 records. Why? Because 300 is not less than 300, right? Because 300 is equal to 300. So now how many records are remaining? Only 7 records are remaining. That's why we have received only the 7 records. Now as far as we move forward, right? So for 400 we have only received how many records? 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, because 400 is again less than 500, less than 800, and it is not matching this condition, right? So similarly, if I come down to, let's say, 800. Okay, so now let's see what record we have received for 800. So for 800 I have only received 4 records, because 800 is less than 1000, 1200, 1500, 1700 and 1800. So this is how this condition works, and you can play around the condition based on your requirement. You can go ahead and try all this option and see what exactly you get. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this video. Let us have a quick recap. In this video, we have seen how we can use the activity called join data table in UiPath Studio. We have seen the inner join, left join, and the full join with the help of example. Post that, we have seen how we can utilize the same with the help of Excel in UiPath Studio. To know more about the join data table, we can always navigate to docs.uipath.com and read the official documentation. I'll put the link in the description and you can refer that. I will wrap this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.